Hi everyone, this is Nanacast, episode 6. We will cover Nana from episode 38 to 42, so the 5 episodes where shit hit the fan.
We've been saying that for the last the last
That's
couple
right.
times that we've talked about Nana, but honestly, I feel like this was a little bit of a step back on the drama meter. You know, no
Is
one's
it?
no one's
Because,
getting sexually assaulted in these episodes. No
but,
one is like blacking out and losing consciousness or like having a dissociative episode.
oh, is it?
I mean, Nana does still have she like hyperventilates in episode
Yep.
42, but I don't think there are any gaps in her memory that are like
All right.
formed in these 5 episodes.
All
You
right.
correct
But
me if I'm wrong.
they got into like the whole big scandal
Oh
that
yes,
like
that
that blow up Japan
yeah, that's true.
apparently.
Like in terms of media coverage, shit has
Yep.
definitely hit the fan. Yeah, I wasn't thinking about that, but you're correct.
Yep. So yeah, I think we got a good break before this episode because starting from episode 38 we eventually get into Ren and Nana get captured or photographed by a paparazzi and
Right, one of the guys who works for Weekly Search.
that's right, and the very next day it's all over the news.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that this is based on the conversation that we see from the Weekly Search editor, who he
Yep.
like we see him in a car together with a private investigator, who
Yep.
he's paid to look into Shin,
Yep.
his backstory, right? And that's how we learn that Shin's mother committed suicide,
Yep.
um,
Yep.
which I don't think we knew already. We knew that his relationship with his parents
Father.
was, you know,
Yep.
non-existent, basically,
Hmm.
and that he had a guardian in Japan, but that guy also doesn't really care about Shin very much. Um, we learned that when we saw the scene where he has to sign the contract because Shin's not 18.
Yep.
So anyway, that's his whole backstory.
Yep.
Um, so what's interesting about the fact that Ren and Nana are photographed together is that what the editor of Weekly Search is doing is not merely trying to sell his own paper. Just like he's not just cashing out immediately on this photo that he's taken. He's trying to build a rivalry between Trapnest and Blast Blackstones,
Yep.
and he's trying to tie the two together based on the relationship between Nana and Ren. So it seems like he has big plans to create like I don't know a sort of saga between these
Yep.
two groups that he can milk for like years
Yeah.
by
That
getting
that's
scoop
cer-
after scoop.
that's certainly very ballsy from him. Especially the fact that uh Nana's band hasn't even debuted yet. So they haven't no one has ever listened to them singing yet.
Right. And the thing is, it's possible that no one ever would have heard them if not
Yep.
for this guy's like
Yep.
puppet master behavior.
Yep.
He's trying to
Yep. Yep.
raise this band up so they can compete with Trap Nest, um, which is very it's until we get to know more about him, I guess, and hopefully we do, even though there are only 5 episodes left after this group. Um, it's hard to know exactly what shape his plan will take,
Yep.
what his precise motivations are.
Yep.
But
I
for now, at least, Nana has made up her mind to like use this opportunity as best she can.
I actually think that it pretty much in character that Nana would take this opportunity, despite that she know that like she using the name just to ride the wave basically,
Yeah,
but she would take it. I think she would be cunning enough to take it, and yes, she does.
yeah, I do think it makes sense. Even
Yep.
though she wanted to succeed entirely on her own terms and not because of any association that she has with Ren,
Yep.
she is now that it's happened. especially if somebody like Yasu sits her down and talks her through it.
Yep.
And I actually can't remember whether we got any sort of scene like that. I think there was a
A
moment
scene like what? Sorry.
where a scene like somebody talking to Nana and saying, "We can't undo what's happened. You might as well just make the most of
No, no,
this."
no, 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 no. It just Yasu who tell Nanas that you are welcome not to debut if you have don't feel comfortable with that.
Right. He says you
And
don't
then
have to sign, I think.
yeah, and then I just say, you bet that I will sign it. This is like a big opportunity to break out.
Right. I thought I remembered perhaps there being some sort of exchange between her and another character where she like
Maybe
made up her
Nobu,
mind. Maybe what?
maybe Nobu.
Could be. I have my notes right here in front of me, but my eyes are kind of unfocused. Like
That's fine.
I'm not like
Uh,
reading through them as I'm talking.
yeah, I just love the fact that when the news break through, like we can see like every sort of reaction from all the members that we know in
Right.
regard to that.
Yeah,
So
I
first
think
we
I agree with you that it's in character for Nana. But you're
to
go
understand
on.
that.
There
Yeah.
is
I I I I just feel that like Hachi, she would react the same way that Hachi always does. Like worry about Nana and slashing out of Takumi for once. Oh
yeah.
my God! How comes he called him later on and apologize for that?
Well, you know why.
Oh man. Anyway, uh, yeah, Nana being the only person who like doesn't catch on the news because he doesn't have the phone or the TV. So she being approached by the by all these paparazzi who I I just feel they are so rude, but
Well, of
that's their
course.
job.
Yeah.
And they ask all kind of question and they just want to like to get the attention to get Nana respond any response point of view out of that and Yasu come to the rescue. So
Yeah. Yeah, and
and
not only does
Yasu,
Yasu come to the rescue, he eventually, and this I was a little disappointed that we just
yeah,
learn through dialogue that
yeah,
he is also being reported on now.
yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah,
there's even some details about him like not being a practicing lawyer or not having
anymore.
his. What's the
Yeah,
deal
yeah.
there? Can you shed some light
All
on that
right.
for me?
I think I understand because when you graduate, I think especially in law, you have to be an apprentice for at least a year and a half. I
Right.
think that's what they say,
That's
or
what
2 years.
Mari-chan, the assistant to Trap Nest, that's what she says.
Yeah. So when you are an apprentice, basically you work under someone and like doing all the stuff, learning all the ropes before you can get the full license.
Right.
Before they grant you the full license to be a proper lawyers. And I think Yasu was still on the apprenticeship until like he slapped that guy and he's being reported. So he not gonna get the full license now. That's what I learned.
Yeah, I got exactly the same. I'm with you. Uh,
Yep.
that all that I understood, but there was like some talk about him. It was as though he was doing something as a legal aid or an apprentice that he wasn't supposed to be doing. Like for example, Nana refers to him as Mr. Illegal Lawyer. Uh,
Nah, I
Obviously she's
I
just
noticed it.
playing around with him,
Yeah.
but at the
Yep.
same time, like, what is the basis for that nickname? I thought that there was
All right.
something more, like that they were going to dig up dirt on him because he had done something as an apprentice that he shouldn't have done.
Nah. I
Okay.
think the only thing that they can frame him is that he uh because I think previously he worked in his hometown and he cannot move anywhere, but now he's in Tokyo, so he doing all the stuff, maybe
Oh,
offline or something.
yeah, like you,
So
that's right. There was Mari-chan said something about like there are restrictions on where you can travel
yep,
when
yep,
you're an
yep,
apprentice. Perhaps his move to Tokyo violated some
yep.
piece of his contract or something.
yeah, some of the condition of the contract, or maybe that.
Okay.
But yeah,
Huh.
but
Well, in any
I think
case,
it just implied that he might not get his lawyer license anytime soon, or
right.
he can be suspended on getting a full license.
Right. Yeah. And I mean that I think that was a sacrifice that he's probably been willing, like he's been looking ahead into the future and
Yeah,
seeing that as a possibility. Yasu doesn't strike me as the kind of guy who would all of a sudden wake up one day and realized, "Wait a minute, I'm not going to be a lawyer?" Like he's obviously
yeah.
planning for what
He's
his future.
he's cool at he's cool at cucumber, man.
Well, in these episodes, he's not. I mean, he still is most of the time, but he does punch the paparazzo who's
Yeah,
outside of
yeah,
apartment 707 where Nana is staying,
yeah, yeah.
and
I
that's pretty
I
uncharacteristic of him. He just
That's
charges right
right.
in there, and he's like, he's probably thinking in his head, "Don't mess with my woman."
Yeah, yeah. But I didn't say that out loud.
No, but he
Otherwise, it's
did
gonna be
confess.
over the news. Yep,
He did confess to loving Nana in episode. It was 42, right? The last of this
yep,
group,
yep.
or was it?
The Yeah, it's 42, and the way he said that, I think is just wonderful. No, the way they say that, both him and Anna, he just said like like now that I lay all my card on the table, so I might as well just say it.
Yeah, and
So
Nana
yeah,
thinks to herself. I mean, she's obviously been wavering between Yasu and Ren mentally for many, many
yeah,
episodes now.
yeah,
And we started. I mean, even when the we were still in the tens of episodes, like I don't know, 14, 16, somewhere around there, we
yeah,
were getting little baby hints about
yeah,
Nana and Yasu and what sort of connection they might have. But
yeah,
now that Yasu has actually come out and said, "I love you," or at least when she asks or says,
yeah,
"You love me," he says, "I sure do."
yeah,
Um, there's no immediate like surge of affection or display of love between the two of them. She just thinks to
yeah,
herself, "I still love Ren,
yeah.
but the person who I've been growing closer to is
It's Yasu.
is Yasu."
Yeah,
So the show's not
I
really ready to, I don't know.
com commit that yet.
Yeah, it's not ready to mess with the status quo yet,
Yeah,
if it ever does.
I I also really appreciate the fact that we learn all about Yasu issues through Rain as well, to Rain point of view, and I think he immediately catch on that Yasu had been sacrificed so much for the band and for Nana especially, and he couldn't like he couldn't sacrifice his band like that anymore, or couldn't sacrifice himself for Nana anymore
Right.
like that.
You're talking about the
So
scene with him and Rhaera in
yep,
the wedding attire, right, for the music
yep,
video.
yep,
Yeah, that scene, I actually I'm not sure that I liked it,
right,
because we had already heard about Yasu through characters speaking. Like we learned about the fact that he was being smeared by the media because other characters were discussing it. And then later we hear all about Yasu's character and how Ren might feel about him and his relationship to Nana through Ren's point of view. I just feel like we've got a lot of Yasu stuff without him being on screen.
yeah. Well, but I think this is the first time that we hear about what Ren thinking about the relationship, especially to with Yasu and Nana. So I still appreciate that we have that scenes.
Maybe I'm just not used to getting a lot of Ren's inner thoughts.
Yeah,
That might take
yeah.
time to
That
get accustomed
That's fair
to,
enough. Yeah,
because typically, in the same way that people were speaking about Yasu and we were learning about Yasu through other people's eyes, that's actually how we learn a lot about Ren
yep,
on this show. We hear a
yeah,
lot. We get flashbacks from Nana. We Hachi speculates about what his relationship with Nana might be.
mhm,
We get little tidbits from Yasu or even Misato, the number one Blast fangirl, who is now returned
Yeah.
because they're about to debut. And of course, when she hears that, she just like throws all her school books out the window and gets on the train
Yeah.
to Tokyo.
She's wonderful, man. She's like the the number one guy, the number one fan who like would do anything for you. So
I mean, on the one hand, that's great. On the other hand, you need to finish your education. At
yeah,
least graduate high school, please.
yep.
If you want
That's
to,
why I think that's why she gets sent back
yeah,
to her hometown to continue studying. Yeah.
yeah. But that didn't take for very long.
Yep. Yep. In other news, we have Hachi who learned about the news, who have a fight with Takumi, and then go to her best friends.
Junko.
Oh, I love Junko and Kyosuke. I love the way that Junko when she tried to consult Hachi. She when she she, oh my God, how to say that, she just put that down to Kyosuke when she doesn't know how to answer
Oh yeah,
no,
she
Hachi
she
anymore.
tags him in. She tags
Yeah,
in
man.
Kyosuke. She's like
I love
pas.
it.
She says the
Yeah, fast.
yeah, pasu,
Yep.
the loan word, I guess, in
Yep.
Japanese.
Love that.
Yeah, that is fun. I think it's great that she and Kyosuke have hung around in the story for as long as they have because they are the one
True. Who
relationship that seems
understand?
to be built to last on this
Yep.
show. Everybody else just has a crush on everyone else,
Yep. Yep.
and there's no security to any of
Yep.
those relationships. But with Junko and Kyosuke, you know that they're gonna stick
They're
together.
always there. That's
Yeah,
right.
and that's nice for the two of them to be friends with Hachi, whose own love life is such a mess.
Yep.
That whenever she goes over to their apartment, she can be like, "Oh, so this is what it's supposed to look like."
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
I mean, Hachi is really a mess in these episodes.
Oh man.
She was more of a mess really in the past when she was just like sitting at the table at apartment 707 letting Takumi do all her talking for her
Yep.
as their relationship was being like explained to Nana, the fact that they were that she was pregnant and all that.
Yep.
But in this episode, she's specifically a mess with regards to like her conversation with Junko, where she starts talking about Asano-san, the married man that she had an affair with as a teenager, and
Yep.
Shoji,
Yep.
who cheated on her with Sachiko. Like, why is she
Yep.
having all these nostalgic feelings about these guys who are far in her rearview mirror at this point? That is
I
not a good sign.
Well, I actually think that it actually good for her to do a bit of reflecting. So to see that like what went wrong, what is you know what doesn't work, because she also say that why she always stuck into like the South Center guy, and why do like older guys who love her just doesn't like just doesn't materialize to like a real relationship. So I do think that this is the one point where she actually look back um uh to that guy, to what's his name,
Asano-san,
no, the other one,
Shoji.
sorry, Sochi, to actually look at her relationship with Sochi, and actually like thinking a bit from Sochi's point of view.
No, I have to
Because,
completely disagree with you, man.
all right,
I don't
all
think
right,
any reflection is happening there. I think she's just pissed at Takumi and
yep,
sad that
yeah, that's true.
she's, sad that they're not getting along, I guess, or that she criticized him so harshly.
Yep,
Uh, and as a result, she's like just thinking back to better times.
yep,
I don't think that
yep,
she's really like learning anything by like with all those memories coming back. I don't think she's doing anything with
yep,
that. And I
Yeah,
mean, you
that's
can
true.
see that Junko's reactions over the phone,
Yep,
like
yep,
when
yep,
it
yep.
cuts to her apartment and you see her facial expression as she's bringing up Asano-san and
Yep.
Shoji, she's like, "What is this girl talking about right now?"
Yeah, love that. And there was an attempt for Hachi to meet Nana and for Nana to meet Hachi as well, but it doesn't uh but they still meet each other. So I would say that that's gonna be the case for for much longer now that you know they not staying together anymore.
Right. Yeah, I mean, talking about the paparazzi thing, when Yasu goes in
Hmm.
together, well, not when he goes in together, but when the two of them come back out together. So
Yep,
this is after Yasu has made his catchphrase, you know, tend your own garden,
yep,
uh,
yep, yep, yep,
which you then see at the start of episode 40. There's like a quick montage of a bunch of people having conversations about Blast and Trap Nest
yep,
all over
yep,
Japan. And
yep,
there's
yep.
one at a flower store where a middle-aged man says, "Tend your own garden." He's not just a middle-aged man; he's a florist, so he's literally working at a flower shop. He says, "Tend your own garden," and his
Oh,
much
I didn't pick that up.
younger employee says, "I have no idea what you're talking about."
I didn't pick that up. Oh my
Oh,
god,
but
that's
you
so funny.
surely you remember what I'm talking about, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
yep, 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 yep.
That was a
No,
great.
I
I
just didn't.
loved that quick
Yep,
little montage.
yep. I didn't pick that up when he said that line, but
Oh yeah,
no.
he was quoting
Uh,
Yasu.
and I love the that montage where you can see like all across Japan, like in many different settings.
Yeah,
Like in school, in like even like the kids talking about that,
right.
even though that they don't know about who Trapness or who
Blast.
Janet
They're like,
is.
What's the name of that band?
Yeah,
What's the name of the
but it,
guitarist?" They're just kids, yeah.
yeah,
But the
uh,
middle-aged
same,
florist was
same, same.
definitely the best. So now Yasu has like his own little fan club, his spread all across the country of people
Yep.
who got his catchphrase. But
Oh
when
god.
when Nana comes back out, she has her own message, not for the
Yep.
media, but for Hachi, who she knows is watching. And she
Yep.
calls her Hachiko, and people mistakenly assume that she's talking to her dog.
Yeah,
Uh,
you know about that story, right?
is Hachiko the
Hachi.
name of the dog that waited forever for its
Yep,
master?
that's right.
Okay.
Hachiko a dog. I think a dog story or something. Yeah, but yep,
Okay.
that's him or
Um,
her.
yeah. So the
That's the
so,
bitch.
yeah. Well, why did I bring that up? There was something I
Yes.
wanted to say about
Sorry. So that send Hachi the message.
right, but why? Even before I got onto that topic, there was some segue I wanted to make or something that I've just completely lost the plot in my
All
head.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. You also mentioning something. So yeah, that where you were going.
I don't even remember where I was going, man. I can't get it back.
That's that's right. So yeah, that did say something to Hachi that like they're gonna make it big, and I thought that was wonderful.
Yeah, it
That's the
was.
only thing
It kind of like
that
put her back on track after a long period of her having those gaps in her memory and um oh, I think the reason I got onto that topic was because you mentioned that they failed to meet. Nana and Hachi failed to meet.
right.
And
Yeah.
they, there it may be that with only 5 episodes left to go after this batch, they may not meet um, before the
Anymore in
anime
the series.
ends,
Yep.
or even potentially at any point in the manga chapters that follow up the events of the anime.
Yep.
Um, but even though that's the case, even though they aren't able to meet through a twist of fate, I guess, because it's laid out in very kind of cliched fashion that she's attempting to go to Shirogane and um, meet Hachi, like at her apartment building, because she's given the address,
Yep.
and then she waits at the station for a while, and you see like the two of them in the same shot crossing paths, but not realizing it, like
Yep.
not being on the same track, looking away from one another.
Yep.
Um, yeah, even though it's true that they missed the opportunity to meet and they may not meet again for quite some time, she was still able to deliver that message
Yep.
by hijacking the media essentially. That was the point that I was making, which took me forever to get to. So it was nice that she thought to do that.
Yep. I think it's wonderful that it's the only thing that she just want to say out of like out of the whole mess. So she just want to send Hachi the message that like that she keep that yes that's it what to say. So I yep I just think we're wonderful.
Yeah, that's good. What else is going on with Nana? I don't even remember. Oh, she does have the panic attack in episode.
Yep.
Uh,
Before talking to that though, I want to mention that Shin had been sending Layla emails.
right, and she sends him
Uh,
one back. So that's the structure of episodes 41 and 42, right?
that's right. That's right. And yeah, I'm a bit mixed about like reading all the text or all all the text on screen. I think I still get the idea that it is more of like she like actually feeling uh having kind of a bit of open up himself to talk to Layla, and I kind of appreciate that, and actually we can see that scene have been attracted to Layla a lot. See, he been in love with Layla, so
Well, it's
um,
interesting that it. I mean, it really does seem that way based on the content of his email. But earlier,
mhm.
their relationship, it seemed to be that Reira was the one. Data, was the
Yeah,
more she was more interested in Shin than he was in
yeah, that's
her.
true.
But now
That's true.
it seems to have flipped,
Yeah,
which is interesting.
yeah, which
We
is
know a
kind.
whole lot about Layla's past involvement with Yasu because they used to go out,
Yep,
and the fact that she seems to have a thing for Takumi, which she keeps hidden.
yep,
We learned that in maybe the last batch of 5 episodes where Yasu gives the key to his apartment where Layla
yep,
is staying
yep,
to Takumi
yep,
because he knows Takumi is the person that she wants to see. And then, of course, there's the fake out where it's Mari-chan who ends up coming to the door. So
yep,
we know a lot about the other guys who are kind of in Layla's orbit, like that are
yep,
involved in her love life somehow.
mhm,
And as we've learned more about that, Shin has kind of taken a back seat a
yep,
little, but now he's like coming on strong. And I from based on her response to his email in episode 42, which is the one where we see her message back to him, she
mhm,
doesn't seem to. I mean, her message is perfectly cordial, but she doesn't seem to be reciprocating in the way that he was. Like in his email to her, he said something about whenever he sees something that sparkles, he thinks of her, like the moon
yep,
or whatever.
yep,
And I was like, man, that's not very. That doesn't sound like Shin at all. Even though
mhm,
Shin
mhm,
is a teenager, and those are the sorts of messages that teenagers send to one another, so it's appropriate for his age, it doesn't
mhm,
sound like him because he typically sounds a lot older. He acts a
yep.
lot older than his age. So who knows how that's gonna
Yeah,
develop?
I think it's gonna be a bit of a red flag for me. I think it's a bit scary that the relationship has been shipped right now because um that we all know that Rira is not over Takumi yet,
Right.
and if she want to commit to Shin, she have to like really put Takumi on like on the back of her mind, so like completely get him out of the pictures, and that's gonna be a really hard, hard hard pill to swallow
Mm.
for her. So I think that is gonna be a really you know they still have a mountain to climb onto, and Sheen will if he open up himself like that, he will, like uh getting more hurt.
Yeah, well, he won't only get hurt romantically, but also there could be, a much more dangerous consequences to his
Mhm.
relationship with Layla. Like, imagine if the fact that they were together got out in the media. I mean, we're seeing stories being run about Nana and Ren's relationship and also about Yasu. I'm
Yep.
sure that given his piercings and stuff, that their stories are running that he's like some sort of secret gangster.
Yeah.
Um, so imagine if the news broke that Adeda had been sleeping with a teenage prostitute,
Yep.
got out. I mean, that could
Yep.
be the end of Trap Nest because she's the face of the band.
Hmm.
So, and I mean, he even says in one of his emails to her, "Don't worry, no one has found out that we were together, so our secret is safe." Like, you're raising a huge flag when you say that. Like,
No,
that's just asking
eh,
somebody to intercept your emails or take a
all
photo
right.
of the two of you together or something.
Yeah, well, I think he didn't actually say that. He said that no one actually found out about your relationship with Yasu as
No,
your previous
really?
boyfriend. Yeah, that's what I take. So
I don't think so.
that's yeah. Well, I will check on that later on.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to because I remember what I remember is him saying no one has found out about our secret,
Yep.
so don't worry, you're safe. And
Man.
then my reaction to that was immediately, why would you say something like that? You're just raising a big,
Yep.
you're putting a target on your head.
Yep. Yep.
Just in
Yep.
terms of like writing the like tropes when a character
Yep.
says something like that, that's when their secret is going to be revealed to the world.
Yep.
Um, but I mean, it's 5 episodes to process on top of the fact that we just watched 3 Czechoslovak New Wave films.
Yep.
So easy to get details mixed up. I may have done that.
Yep. Well, and then yeah, Nana got a panic attack.
Right. I mean, by skipping straight to that, we're kind of glossing over the whole the training camp.
All right. What to say about training camp? It's safe. It's gonna be in gorilla style. So I love that.
Well,
I
that's
I,
the
I
performances that they're training for are going to
Yep.
be guerrilla style. Like they're just going to have concerts on the street.
Yeah. I think I love the marketing on that. You know. Just
Well, it would be nice if this story hadn't broken. Because now that this story is
what
out,
do you mean by that?
like the
Oh,
story
right.
of
Right. Right. Yep.
Nana and Ren, now no matter how you try to market your band or drum up interest in your band, it's all going to feel
Yep.
completely artificial.
Yep. Yep.
Like,
Yep.
oh, look, this band is performing on the side of the road, and they've been in the news every single day for the last 2 weeks.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
It's not going to feel organic.
Yep.
But I mean, at the same time, they're probably, I don't know, they weren't just preparing for the gorilla concerts. They were also recording.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's not as though it was a complete waste of time. Plus, there are some fun scenes in there, like for example, after they get finished recording some of Nana's vocals, and some of the people who were back in the, on the other side of the glass, who were listening to her
Yep.
singing, they kind of make fun of her for the fact that she can't quite hit all the high notes.
Yep.
And then they all go and fish by the lake.
Yep. Yep.
And Shin is like so excited to go fishing. Those are like fun moments, where
Yep.
we get to know some of the production team, I guess, a little
Yep.
bit better.
Well, not enough, but okay.
Yeah, not enough, but I mean, Ginpei, the who's kind of the band's
Then
manager.
oh man,
Um,
and he has the heart for Yasu, right?
yeah, I don't think this is the first time that we've met him. Right, he acted as their
Is it?
chauffeur in the past, I believe.
All right.
It could
I
be
know.
that this
I
was.
can't recall.
What do you think? Was this your first time
I
seeing
don't
him?
recall him before, but it would make sense that he has been up here before, but I just didn't take notice.
I mean, when he appears in these episodes, we do get a gigantic like name plate on the bottom of the screen as though he's being introduced for the first time, which
Mhm.
it's possible that he was. I just happen to remember, And I mean, I've seen this series before, and I've read the manga, so like I have various memories from other parts of the story intruding in my head, which can cause
Yep.
me to mix things up. But I believe we've seen Ginpei once before when he was driving. Actually, you know what? That was Kawano. That was the Tanuki guy, I think.
Right,
So
right,
I think
right.
this
Yep, yep.
was Ginpei's first. I'll go ahead and do
Appearance.
the teeny tiny spoiler. Ginpei becomes like he continues to show up consistently, and he becomes one of the funniest characters
All right.
in the manga.
That's good to
He's
hear.
he's great.
All
So
right.
yeah,
One
we will learn more about him.
one big question for you though, if you have read the manga up until this point, is the anime faithfully adapt the manga?
It does, yeah. There is one
Right.
major difference, which I can't, which is like a
Spoil.
colossal spoiler, which I can't say. There's
Wow.
one thing that
Yep.
is, I mean, the anime is completely faithful.
Right.
It's just that given the way the anime ends,
Yep.
I shouldn't even go into it at all. But
All right. Right.
there is
Right. Right.
something that
Yep.
will eventually happen in the manga, which the anime doesn't really hint at, even though it probably should.
Right.
But it
Huh.
doesn't matter. Like the storyline is the same.
Yep. 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 All right.
But yeah, Ginpei is cool, and there's also so Kawano is the Tanuki, but there's also his counterpart, the fox, whose name is it Nishimura?
Uh,
Do you know who I'm talking about? The guy with
yep.
the kind of the thin glasses and the parted dark hair.
Yep. I'm not into the name at all,
Nishimoto.
but
His name is
all right.
Nishimoto, and he becomes slightly more prominent. I mean, Ginpei becomes an actual very important character. Nishimoto remains in the background, but you learn a little bit more about him as well,
Huh.
and you also learn more about the new characters at the dorm. We finally entered the dormitory arc. They're
Right.
living
Wow.
at the
There's an actual art for that.
sort
That's
of, yeah, yeah,
all right. The AV idol who's all the boys know about.
right. Yuri Kosaka.
Yep.
And there's also the girl who spots Nana hyperventilating, and
Oh,
who,
is that the different girls?
yeah, that's a different girl.
Damn.
And we also see her like feeding her fish in her fish tank. There's a lot of focus on
Mm,
that as we
mm,
transition into the ED of episode 42 for some reason.
yep.
um, she is also an important character. So yeah,
Uh,
this I mean the dormitory is kind of like an arc where you meet some new characters who are in other. So you know how Oshinoko was supposed to like people thought of it as, oh man, it's like a big expose on the entertainment
yep.
industry.
Yep.
We're sort of entering that territory for Nana,
Oh,
where you
all
get
right.
the AV actress,
It
and there's
it's
some
a
what's up?
yep. It's a shame then that Hachi is not the one who participate on this.
Oh yeah, that she's kind of separate from.
Yep.
Yeah, she's
Yep.
locked up in her cage.
Yep. Oh man. Well, oh, and we haven't mentioned about Sachiko.
Oh
I love
yeah,
that. I love the humor of that. Like the first thing she thought about, a woman who is much smaller and slender than her
right.
is Sachiko. So she blubbed out that name, and Takumi take a liking of that name. So he might gonna name their daughter Hachiko. How Sachiko, sorry.
Right.
So
Yeah, a
I love
lot
that
of
for her.
very good Takumi related humor in these
Right, right,
episodes, which is,
right.
I suppose, good. I mean, he's the character that you sort of love to hate.
Yep,
And certainly I wouldn't say he deserves a whole lot of happiness, but I suppose it's nice that if the show is going to continue to incorporate him in a major way, that there's some positivity to his portrayal.
yep.
Um,
Well,
and he
how how
gets,
do you how do you take to the guy who says, nine out of 10 of my energy will be for work, and you will be the first priority out of
the
my
second
other one,
category.
yeah, my second category,
But he doesn't even
and
say you're number one out of the second
yeah,
category.
the second the second favorite out of the second category.
Right. And of course, that is a pretty cute reference to their daughter or their child. Do we know
Yeah.
yet? We do, right?
No,
She went and had.
w-
Oh, there hasn't
we
been a sonogram that's like revealed the gender of the child or the sex of the
no
child.
no no. We don't know the sex of the child,
Oh,
but
okay. So they're both just operating under the assumption that it's going to be a girl because that's what Hachi has said.
yeah, Sachiko.
Okay.
Huh? Maybe yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think he pretty much set his mind on having a girl because he say something about our little princess or something.
Right. But I think she has
So
also expressed to him her confidence that it'll be a girl.
mm,
Um,
yeah,
yeah. So the souvenirs that
yeah,
he gets are in part for their daughter. And they have a nice little scene where they're in a bath together
yeah,
with rose petals, of course, floating on the surface of the water. And they're talking about baby names.
yeah,
Like she says that she likes names that are written with one kanji,
yeah.
which, I assume that the discussions that Japanese people have about baby names are probably way more in depth than, for example, American discussions because we just write all of our names with Roman letters.
I don't know about you guys. I just feel that in Australia people just have these common names and nothing else. We have a lot of Bryans, a lot of Tom, a lot of Ben,
Well, there's a
and
lot of that in America too, but there is also because America is like a cultural melting pot. There are
yeah.
people of so many different ethnicities living in the U.S.
Well,
There,
we have that too,
well,
but
I would imagine that America probably
bigger, right?
is well. Not only is the country bigger, I mean America's population's higher, but does Australia have the bigger landmass?
Yeah, well, actually, America still have a bigger landmass
Okay,
than Australia,
the
but
cultural
the
crossover
density,
in
yeah,
America is pretty, thorough. I would say.
yeah,
Of course, there are parts of the country where not so much, but major
yeah,
cities, you got people of all different ethnicities having babies with people of all different ethnicities, and as a result, naming gets a little bit creative, you know.
yeah,
But in Japan, I'm just thinking like the mechanics of the language. The fact that people's names need to be written, you need to be able to write them both in kanji and in, I guess, would it be katakana
hmm
or hiragana, one of those two, or both?
yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, yeah, they have that little conversation. There's also another little bit of Takumi humor, which was one of my favorite scenes from all these 5 episodes, which is when Leila writes the name of his mistress in England in lipstick on the window.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. What's the name again?
I can't remember. It starts with an S.
Is that Stella? Stella.
Stella.
Is that
Yes, it
Stella?
is Stella. Yeah, she writes Stella's name, and then like makes faces at him through the window after writing her name
Yeah,
in lipstick as he's on the
yeah,
phone with his fiance.
yeah,
Layla is like mocking him essentially for the fact that he's got this other woman across the ocean
yeah,
that she knows he will be cheating on his fiance with.
yeah,
Um, and of course, the way that scene ends is with Takumi actually smearing the lipstick as he promises an engagement ring to Hachiko or to Hachi, which is, symbolically that would indicate his loyalty to his wife and his lack of regard for the woman whose name he's just smeared on the window. But, who knows what actually happened.
yeah,
But I really, really enjoyed that scene of, because Layla has this massive crush on Takumi dating back to their teenage years, but she still has a little bit of fun with him and like teases him in that moment about one of his mistresses. So I thought that was a fun scene.
yeah, yeah. Me too. I enjoy it quite a bit out of that as well. So yeah, I think that pretty much covered the whole 5 episodes.
Oh,
Do you
there's
have any other notes?
there's no way it covers.
All right,
All
go
the
on, go on,
episodes.
go
I
on.
mean, what I would have to rack my brain a little bit probably and glance over what I've written here. Oh yeah, there was one thing I wanted to. So we were just talking about the fact that Takumi and Hachi, their relationship. Obviously, there's the discussion they have early on in this batch of 5 episodes where she accuses him of not being human, and he says, "Well,
Mhm.
then maybe it would be for the best if we call off the wedding and you can just go home to your parents." And
Yep, yep.
oh, we also didn't mention. We didn't talk a lot about the fact that he goes to her house and meets her family. That's pretty
Yeah,
important.
well,
But what I was gonna bring up is, in general, the two of them seem to have their relationship's pretty solid in these 5 episodes. The first, you know, argument that they have, notwithstanding.
yep,
And I wanted to
yep.
contrast that, that happiness that the two of them seem to be experiencing with something that Nana says in episode 41. One, how we're getting Nana's voiceover now rather than Hachi's. At some point, she says, in reference to Nana and Hachi, she didn't want to know what was going on with them. Like she was just putting all of her energy into fulfilling her promise to Hachi
Yep,
to make it big. She didn't want to
yep,
know what was going on with Takumi, but in reality, she says she was just jealous,
yep, yep.
which is interesting because, Nana being pretty strong willed and prideful, wouldn't easily admit to being jealous.
Yep.
But here she does. And I wonder if that has anything to do with what the show touched on briefly a while ago, like her thoughts about becoming a mother and her feeling as though she might be like a really bad one as a result of her own kind of shaky, insecure upbringing. I wonder if this jealousy that she's referencing here is a result not necessarily of of Hachi's relationship with Takumi, but of her pregnancy.
I think it's more like her possessive nature. Like if she likes something, she wanted them for herself. And knowing that, had she, like staying with Takumi, whom she hates, whom she doesn't think is a good fit for her, just I think, just drive her mad. So she doesn't want to think about that.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, she definitely is possessive, and she wants to keep Hachi in her own garden or her own backyard. As she, I remember, I was confused the first time I heard that, and I brought that up on whatever episode of
Yep,
this podcast that was. Like, what the hell does that mean? Why would you
yep,
say something
yep,
like that? But she's actually brought it back up to Nobu.
yep,
There's a scene between the two of them where Nobu's like, "I haven't given up on her," and Nana's like, "You're damn right you haven't. I'm gonna get her back into our backyard." Then the next
yep.
episode, Nobu's like, "I've given up."
Yep, and then she having a panic attack
Right? Yeah.
because yeah, because yes, I think I can understand that. Like she been, like really work up into, like that point to prove something, to have a goal, and now that goal doesn't exist anymore because he doesn't have to get Nana back anymore. So she doesn't, at that moment she doesn't know what to do.
Right. Yeah,
Sorry,
and she was
Nana Hachi.
viewing Nobu as
Yep,
like her ally in her quest
yep.
to kind of possess
Bring
Hachi.
uh bring Hachi back. That's right.
Yeah, and when she loses that ally, I guess she would feel
She
isolated.
losing her grips. Yeah.
Yeah. So not
So
only is she experiencing the memory loss, dissociation, now she's also hyperventilating.
yeah.
Um, so
Huh. I don't know. She not in any drug, and as far I can see, she don't drink at all. She just smoke. Is that smoke cause you know, memory loss and hyperventilating?
I think no, I don't believe that it does. I'm not a smoker. I'm not an expert on the subject, but I don't think. I mean, the Surgeon General's warning on a pack of cigarettes
There,
just says you will die if you keep smoking these. It doesn't say you will also start to forget. You know,
there's something wrong with the water.
maybe. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I.
But
So what's it just in general? I think what's going on with Nana is there are a lot of questions.
I think she bipolar.
Oh, bipolar. Yes, I think that's possible.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, that's possible. But I thought it was interesting that in episode 41, her, like that's the episode where Takumi is getting along really well with Hachi, but and Nana, who says to Yasu, "I know you love me," and Yasu says, confirms that. He says, "You bet I do."
yeah,
Like, even though there's an understanding between the two of them on that front, she still can't act, perhaps in the way that she wants to. Like, she can't show him the affection that she would like to because, um, I don't know,
I
she's in love with Ren as well, or
yeah,
she's like not feeling particularly secure individually, and so she
I
doesn't feel as though she can be with anybody at all. Or
yeah,
she's just missing Hachi so much that she won't permit herself to be happy with anybody else, or who. It's just it feels very complicated to me. So I'm interested to see how her mentality continues to develop or even deteriorate.
yeah. That two thing I want to say. First is that I think it's come to the point where both Nana and Rain questioning their relationship, their old relationship, because they all question the same thing. They all say like they still love each other as much as they was before. It just they can feel something that like holding the back.
Yeah, it's true. Both of them do phrase that the exact same way.
Yeah. And second is that we see, I think later on, I think that was in episode 42 where Rhaenyra come into the bathroom and see Rain just laying there. I think he was on drug. We just talking uh, uh doing drug there. So uh
Right. We do. I think
yeah,
we do know. I mean, the manga goes into slightly more detail about Ren's drug use. I think there were
right.
probably restrictions on what you could show on it on TV.
TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I correct me if I'm wrong. We have seen him using drugs, right? Like there's
I
a
can't
scene where
recall.
he's in a bathroom stall. I think in the anime,
Right.
and maybe he's like smoking weed or something.
Huh. I don't recall. I think this is the first time that for me that I come to notice that he been using some drugs.
Well, what clued you in? In
Just the way that he looked really hangover after like so that he just uh s- he just lie down over there.
like his Are you talking about
That clue
it's I
me
mean
in.
he's lying in the bathtub as though he's, yeah, like perhaps not in his right mind and maybe like detoxing or something.
That's right. And
But
when he talked to Leila as well, the manner that he speak is that he clearly like not in his right mind.
okay. So are you judging also by like his speech patterns or facial expression?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. I don't
Not by seeing any drugs.
Right.
No.
Yeah. I mean it's true. I feel, and I referenced earlier the fact that I've read the manga, seen the anime, blah blah blah.
Yep.
And so that makes me like struggle to
Okay.
keep my memories of what's happened so far in the anime in order.
Yep.
I think that we have seen him uh, do drugs somehow
Hmm.
prior to this point. Like I think it was him in a bathroom stall smoking weed.
All right.
Perhaps around the time that uh, I man, I can't get a grip on what memory it is that I have exactly.
Yep.
But yeah, it's I think your hunch is correct
Okay.
that he was probably, the reason he was lying in the bathtub there is because he had smoked something, shot something up. Who
Yep.
knows?
Hi.
Yeah, and the way that Reira says to is it Mari-chan who comes in to check
Yep.
on them,
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
Layla says to her, this is normal. Ren does this. Um,
Yep.
that kind of speaks to like a pattern
That's
of drug use, not just a
yeah,
one time thing. Like this is something
yeah,
that Reida has seen before
yeah,
and even expects. That may even
yeah.
be the reason she went into the bathroom in the first place.
He's really a model after Sid, right?
Sid Vicious from the Sex Pistols,
Yep.
yeah. Yep. He's
Yeah.
got the padlock chain. He's got the spiky hair.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course there's direct references to like the movie Sid and Nancy and stuff in the
Yeah.
script of Nana.
That's
Yeah. All right.
yep.
I guess
Consider consider that Sid Vicious passed away when he was 21. I hopefully that's not the case for our man here.
yeah, that would
Sad.
introduce a lot of complications into the story.
True.
Because
But
if he
it's
dies,
actually
then there can't be like a quote
it's
unquote
actually
fair resolution to the love triangle with Yasu.
uh it's actually cleared the way between Nana and
Yeah,
Yasu,
that's what I mean though. Like it wouldn't be fair, so to
maybe
speak.
yeah, maybe we have like a touch situation there.
How's that? Oh, I see. Yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah, like Ren dies and then slowly over the course of many years, or well, not
yeah.
many years. Touch happens over the course of 3 years, but over the course of many chapters or episodes,
Volumes. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, the two of them will grow closer together as they grieve over Ren's passing. I mean that
Yeah.
that would be a possibility.
Alrighty. Yep. So I can believe that the next part's gonna be the final 5 episodes out of anime.
Yep, but I mean, there's a lot more manga afterwards, and I mean, I prefer the anime to the manga, but it's because the manga gets unbelievably like bleak and depressing after a certain point.
Yep.
But the manga is still entertaining.
Hmm.
I would say from my memories of it anyway, which as
Yep.
we now know are completely scrambled.
Yep. Alrighty. So we will see you again in a couple of weeks to see the end of it,
Yep.
at least in anime form.
Yeah. At the end of August, we'll do our final Nanacast, and then we'll decide
Yep.
whether we
Final
want
thought.
to continue with the manga, or there actually is another classic series that I'm interested in doing, which ties into another project
Right.
that has to do with old anime that we're doing independently of this channel.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Sound good to me.
yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yep. Hit me up on that.
Sure.
All right. See you guys soon.